Well, for us, it was a Cinderella year. You know, things went right here at the shop. The planning all went perfect. We arrive up there. We very meticulously worked on this airplane through the week, Friday's race, Saturday's race, to get ready to where we wanted to be on Sunday. And of course, when Sunday came around, we were definitely ready.
This past year went really, really well for us. We've had 10 years of bad luck, bad engines. We finally got our motor program the way we want it. The team worked perfectly together. The airplane performed well for us. We didn't have any problems, and we had a great year.
It's not just fly it up there and go run it around the track. There's a lot of preparation that goes into the engine prior to really getting on the track. When we fly it up there, it's got cruise spark plugs in it. It's got the blue, low lead gasolines. We would change it onto the race plugs, and then, of course, put in the race fuel. We might change the timing. We might redo the valve lash. Just depends.
We always try and make sure that our airplane, other than tuning, is ready to race when it gets there. That way we're not chasing our tail on new systems. Through the week, for us, it kept getting better and better. We really look at all the test flights, qualifying Friday and Saturday, all as test flights for the big race on Sunday. So we continually retune the airplane, changed fuel flows, changed ignition timing, until we finally got the airplane to perform where we thought it should, and it ran flawless for us on Sunday.
Myself, I really didn't care whether I was in first, second, or third. I really didn't want to be any farther back than third come Saturday. It's really too bad that qualifying really doesn't mean anything. It only means how you're going to start Friday. I was just laying back there watching everybody fly, see how they're flying. It's been a few years since I've had an airplane that actually would stay in the air. So I'm just watching and learning again, you know, planning strategy. Then come Sunday, the only day that really counts, we just let it happen. And, you know, we just went around those boys pretty fast, and it was see ya. You know, was I laying back in the weeds? Yeah, you might say that. I really didn't care about being first. Didn't matter to me, only on Sunday.
Sunday was definitely the fastest day for us.
As you could tell in the race, we just whooped them. Oh, my background is just about like any other private pilot at the time. I just went out to the airport and learned how to fly, and over the years, you know, I bought my first Mustang, I think, in '77, and got a little bit of AT6 time, about 3 or 4 hours, and jumped in the Mustang and been there ever since. So I don't have a military background as such, flying airplanes. For me, it just kind of came natural. When I had the first Mustang, I had heard about these things called Reno air races. So a good friend of mine is Ron Heavley, who had taken his T6 there before. He's a crop duster here in Bakersfield. So I called him up and said, hey, would you like to go? So we went. He flew the airplane, and we didn't do bad, but right then I got hooked, and we know the rest of the story. Always had a Mustang, you know. If you really want to go fast, get yourself a Mustang. Strega came out of Australia. It was, you know, the Australians built 200 Mustangs under license from North American to Commonwealth aircraft. This particular one wasn't built by Commonwealth. The U.S. ended up shipping about 300 or so Mustangs, along with the 200 they built, to Australia. This was one of them. It was built in Inglewood, 1945. It never really saw any action. It arrived there a little bit, you know, the war was still on, but it ended shortly. I think it had 50 or 60 total hours on it when it was parked. And then, you know, it sat outside, a lot of corrosion, damage, what have you. It sat there for all those years. I got the airplane in 1980, 82, about the middle of 82, but I still had the Dago Red at that time. We won in 82. Ron Heavley was flying it, and I sold it the next day because I had this one coming online that I wanted to make even better. And so its first appearance at Reno was in '83. It was, once we had it all apart, it was always purposely built to go air racing.
Well, now that we have the engine running the way we want it, we're not going to change anything in our motor program. We're going to mainly focus on getting the airplane sealed up, new wing fillets, new cowling, things of that nature. But like I said, as far as the engine goes, we have it right where we want it, and we're going to leave it alone.
Well, as I think most people know, Steve Hinton Jr. is going to be piloting it next year. And, you know, we have a few more speed secrets, you might say, that we're going to adapt. We never seem to stop in trying to make the airplane faster. But he'll be taking over the controls. I'm just going to be the alternate pilot in case he comes up sick on race day. Then maybe I'll have to climb back in. But it's always good to have a spare pilot around. I may do some of the test hops up there because of the fact that little Steve has never been there, and I can tell him whether it's really right, and when it's really right, then he can get that feel, and then when it becomes really wrong, not the blow up wrong, we all know that one, but when it's just not quite right, he'll start to adapt to what he's feeling and possibly what he's hearing. So, you know, it's going to be a big learning curve for him, but I've got a lot of experience that I'll be passing on, coaching him all the time, and I think he's going to be one of the top guys up there. There's a couple other young ones, you know. Will Whiteside, he's older than Steve. I'm guessing he's around his early 30s. Brent Seghetti, he's fairly young. You know, he's got possibly a chance for a bigger ride than he has now. Well, Dan Vance, maybe Dan looks older because he's so tall. You know, but yeah. So, you know, as the guard starts to change, I'm sure that, you know, and if it's not those guys, it'll be somebody, maybe possibly a younger, hot military pilot that can adapt rather quickly, that will come along. You know, as long as that sport keeps going up there, there will be somebody to fill these chairs. I'm probably one of the few people, hopefully not, but that would live my whole life over again and do nothing different. It's been great, but maybe it's a lot to do with attitude, and I've always got a great attitude, so, you know, and let me tell you, there's been hills and there's been holes, and that's probably what really makes life interesting. If you went through life with just perfect, all the money you ever wanted, and you never had to really do anything, life would be pretty boring. So for me, it's been an exciting ride. Who knows, I might climb back in that cockpit again, as I said earlier. It just depends. You know, right now Steve's in there. I'm looking forward to that. But who knows what the future holds.